Welcome to Mana's Seal YouTube channel. The previous video link is on the description box or on the top right card. Volume 12. The Paladin of the Holy Kingdom. In the distance, she could see the outermost of Erantles, the capital of the Sorcerer's Kingdom, 3 walls, and the imposing gate set into it. However, neither of them could draw Nia's attention away from the two gigantic statues which flanked the gate. They depicted an undead creature which held a bizarre staff that resembled snakes coiling around each other. Those statues were probably made in the image of the Sorcerer King, Ainzulgaun. Despite being a good distance away from them, Nia could make out the intricate detailing of the statues. In all likelihood, she would not be able to find a flaw in them even at the statues' feet. Then, she saw several human-shaped creatures working near the statues. Aren't they too big? Aren't they as high as those walls? Well, I know the statues are large. Who are those people working down there, anyway? The others seemed to have the same questions as Nia, and the paladins began discussing the identities of those human-like creatures. Those aren't humans, are they? Yeah. Are they giants? Although, they don't seem to be the same as hill giants. Nia, a mere square, had never seen a giant in the flesh before, but she had heard about these beings during her monster knowledge class. Giants were essentially enlarged humans, but in addition to their powerful bodies, they also possessed racial abilities. Thanks to these abilities, they could endure environments which humans would be hard-pressed to survive, so they typically made their homes in such places. There were demi-human species which had little to do with humans, who could only live on the plains. Some races which were skilled in magic or more advanced than humanity. Race alone did not determine the goodness or wickedness of a being. One of the 13 heroes was a giant. In the Holy Kingdom, the giants known as sea giants sometimes showed up to trade. That said, giants were generally a violent and dangerous race. On the subject of dangerous giants in the human world, one would have to mention hell giants, who lived in the hills. Giantkin such as trolls and the like were also quite infamous. In that case, what were these giants doing in a city of the undead? Were there giants here in the past? Did he conquer them? Does that Sorcerer King command giants? I've never heard of something like that before. That surprised exclamation from one of the paladins was only to be expected. They had gathered a great deal of intelligence in preparation for their journey to the Sorcerer's Kingdom. Of course, a lot of that information was incomprehensible, so they could not be said to have succeeded in their objective, but that still counted as doing their due diligence. Both the ghost ship and giants were matters of mystery. Was the Sorcerer King an undead giant? Nia thought. But such a distinguishing characteristic ought to have showed up in their intelligence reports. Just then, Gustavo addressed her from behind. Square Baracha, it's about time we changed formation. Move to the rear. Understood. During their journey, Nia had been at the head of the formation, but now that they were near the city, Nia would occupy the rearmost position. In turn, Remedios and Gustavo would take Nia's place at the front. Captain Custodio, shall we send an envoy out to announce us? Surely anyone would be wary of a group of people showing up near a city in full plate armor and bearing arms. Therefore, when they entered a city or village of the kingdom, they would typically send out a paladin to inform them that they were coming, and then the group would approach, bearing the flag of the Holy Kingdom. This was etiquette. After receiving Remedio's permission, they sent a paladin out before them. After reaching the gates to the Sorcerer's Kingdom, he turned and came back. Captain, I've informed the watchmen of the Sorcerer's Kingdom. They extend a welcome to us. Is that so? Got it. Then let's go. Raise the flags. Hold your chests high. Do not disgrace the name of paladins of the Holy Kingdom. With that, the group slowly guided their horses towards the Sorcerer's Kingdom. Finally, they reached the stately-looking gates, as well as the giants working there. The giants seemed to be cleaning the statues, as though to make the beautiful statues even more beautiful. They glanced at the giants' appearance, and their skin was bluish-white, while their hair and mustaches were white. They seemed to be dressed in primitive clothing made from the hide of some kind of beast, as well as exquisitely made chainmail armor. What kind of giants are those? Nia's keen senses picked up the conversation from the front row. This is just a guess, but I think they should be frost giants, right? Remedios replied vaguely. Are they strong? What powers do they have? Honestly, give me a break. Frost giants are giants who live in cold climates, and they are immune to cold. In contrast, they are weak to fire. I see. So if we have to fight one, we should use fire, is that right? Well, pretty much. Mithril-ranked adventurers should be able to beat them with ease. However, they can train and learn like us, and sometimes you might encounter a giant with warrior skills. Therefore, you must be careful. Those were giants. One could train to be a warrior, a magic caster, or a thief. It was not just humans who could train themselves in such techniques. While creatures with racial advantages generally were not inclined towards such training, some of them would put in the effort to pick up such skills, and that made them very difficult opponents. Nia's father had repeatedly told her, beasts intimidate you with their appearance. But a powerful foe who does not appear to be one is very frightening. Well, I've never fought a giant before. Still, ogres are a different matter. Take care you don't upset them by mentioning ogres in the same breath as them. To the sea giants, at least, it would be like comparing a monkey to a human. Of course, that's a rumor from a bard, so there's no telling how much of that is true. The Holy Kingdom can't hire sea giants, but the Sorcerer's Kingdom can employ frost giants. Which of them is stronger? I'm afraid I don't know the answer to that. Well, the captain obviously wanted sea giants to be stronger. The important thing now was the sort of treatment these frost giants faced in the Sorcerer's Kingdom. Were they treated as friends, enslaved with force, or were they paid for their services in a mutually beneficial relationship? There was no way to tell from the forms of the silently laboring giants. Still, it would seem these giants are excellent laborers. The Holy Kingdom has worked with demihumans in the past, but if they expanded the scope of that, it could do many more things. Of course, the Holy Kingdom would never do that. Well, there were races such as the mermen, with whom the Holy Kingdom had a long history of mutual cooperation. The memories of war with demihumans still remained, so such a thing would never be accepted. Had the Sorcerer's Kingdom only accepted giants? Or did it also take in other strange races? If she encountered demihumans here similar to the ones who had attacked the Holy Kingdom, could she rein in the anger within her heart? For instance, what would happen if she met a snakeman here? It would be a snakeman who came from a land far removed from the Holy Kingdom, living in peace with humans in this nation. Perhaps it might not be possible to use an emotional appeal to dissuade the others from showing hostility, but given the present circumstances, they would have to do just that. Nia looked uneasily at Remedio's back. Could she do it? She mentally shook her head. Worrying about Remedios like that was very rude. She was the leader of this diplomatic party, and she was working to save the country. She could certainly do that much. Such concerns were being disrespectful to her. Can we just enter like that? How about going in through another gate? The gates might be open, but the giants were working. She was worried about whether they would mind the passing of the humans at their feet. We'll go in like this. If word gets out that the Hoy Kingdom's emissaries went in through another door because they were afraid of giants, everyone who knows will laugh at us. Understood. Then we shall obey your instructions, Captain. And so, the group advanced toward the gates. Fortunately, the giants took a look at them, and then stopped their work for a while, allowing them to pass without incident. Nia felt that this was less goodwill towards humans than a mysterious sentiment towards visitors to the Sorcerer's Kingdom. Normally, they would have been stopped outside the gates, but since they had sent someone to announce them, they were ushered in by human soldiers who looked like street guards, and the group passed through the gates, under the light of magical lanterns. Their illumination was distinctly different from that of the sun, and the trained warhorse harromed uneasily under their radiance. Welcome to Irantal, city of the Sorcerer's Kingdom. Is this your first time visiting here, honored paladins? Ah, yes. I see. Then, I beg your pardon, but can you please dismount? This was probably a luggage check, Nia thought. While it was somewhat inconsiderate to conduct one on people calling themselves emissaries from another nation, they were justified in doing so. There was no protest as the group got off their horses and obeyed the instructions to walk this way please, which brought them to a huge door beside the gates. Going by common sense, this ought to be a side tower, a combination of troop barracks and a defense base. Please enter here. This city is different from the cities of the kingdom and the empire, and that it possesses all manner of different locations within, so first-time visitors will have to attend a workshop in the room ahead. A workshop? Yes. This is to minimize unnecessary disturbances. Only people who have attended this lecture may enter the city. What say you? They had come all this way, so obviously they could not refuse the request to attend. Well, it was to be expected. Remedio's answer was a definite yes. Then, may I request that you give your weapons into our safekeeping? Naturally, they could not refuse that, but just as naturally, Remedio's had a put-upon look on her face. Remedio's sword was a divine treasure of the Holy Kingdom. Just by bearing it, she would not even need to kneel before the Holy King. She could not surrender such a treasure before even meeting the king of the realm, and after hearing that much, the soldier nodded in understanding. Is that so? Then it can't be helped. Then please remain as you are and enter, everyone. The truth is, holding onto your swords was intended to ensure your safety. In that case, please promise me that you will not draw your weapons no matter what once you're inside. If you can't do that, I'd advise you to leave this city instead. Understood. We shall return the trust you have shown in allowing us to bear our swords, and so we shall not draw our weapons while we are inside. Remedios touched her hand to her chest, to the emblem of the Holy Kingdom there, as she made that declaration. She swore to do so on her honor as a paladin and that of the Holy Kingdom. Then I'll trust you to do that. First, I shall ask the guard for this area to step outside. Within the Holy Kingdom, this was an absolute oath that might even draw gasps of surprise from those who saw it, but it was much more mildly received in other countries. After that bland response, the guard knocked on the door. After that, the door slowly opened, and what suddenly appeared before their eyes was Nia went ie, in a voice that was somewhere between a gasp and a wail. The being that slowly emerged was excessively large in every dimension. Its black-colored full-plate armor was covered in red tracery that resembled blood vessels, and it was covered in spikes. Demonic horns protruded from its helmet, and its open-faced helmet revealed a rotted human visage. Its empty eye sockets contained points of red light filled with hatred and the anticipation of carnage. The temperature in the room plunged in an instant, as though the darkness was chilling them. Please do not draw your weapons. Everyone's shoulders shuddered from the guard's shout. Nothing will happen if you do not draw your swords. But if you do, you will be slain instantly. After that, you will be bound to eternal suffering. Please don't make me have to witness something like that again. His mournful cry sounded like he had experienced this sort of thing before. Had he personally witnessed such an event in the past? The undead being slowly glared at Nia and the others. There was a feeling that it was waiting for them to draw their blades. And this undead being is... Remedio's voice trembled faintly as she spoke. There are guards who are stationed throughout this city in large numbers. Really? Remedio's quaking voice was somewhere between surprise, fear, and consternation. Nia felt the same way as her. It was unthinkable that a nation would possess so many undead of such extraordinary power. Excuse me. Is this undead creature under the control of His Majesty, the Sorcerer King? The guard nodded in response to Nia's reflexive question. Indeed, that is so. Also, he rules over undead who are more powerful than this one over here. Is it not dangerous? The soldier responded immediately to Gustavo's question. He sounded like he was dying to inform them of this. Yes, to date, there have been no incidents in this city where people were killed without provocation.